So this picture here proves my point on how everything was set up for the 1860 election. Popular sovereignty, I'm going to explain that. But before that, I want to let people know that the Civil War was definitely about slavery. And people think that it wasn't about slavery, but you have to ask yourself the end result. What was the end result? The end result was getting rid of slavery. If it was about another issue, then why didn't that issue be addressed? Right? Why was the end result about slavery? So we're going to talk about what, let's say we have a problem with peanuts, right? Just a strange example. We have a problem with peanuts. Apparently, people think we have a problem with peanuts, but the end result of all our problems was to get rid of licorice, black licorice. You see, that doesn't make any sense. The problem was with peanuts. All of a sudden, we're getting rid of black licorice. So let's say there was a problem with, they say it was about tariffs or taxes and stuff like that. Well, how come there wasn't an end result about solving the problem with tariffs and taxes? You understand? So the end result was slavery. So the whole thing was about slavery. And as I said, the abolitionists knew that only to get rid of slavery was to have a war. And they got a war. So the whole war was suspect. It happened on purpose, from my opinion. It happened on purpose. Because the abolitionists knew the only way to get rid of slavery was to have a war. So it was done on purpose. And that's my strong belief. But the end result, you have to ask yourself, well, what was the end result? If people say that, well, it wasn't about slavery. Okay, if it wasn't about slavery, what was the end result of the Civil War? What was the 13th Amendment about? Well, it was about slavery. Okay, that was the end result. Now, you see two people who were Democrats, right? They were for popular sovereignty. Now, popular sovereignty is the principle that the authority of a state and its government are created and sustained by the consent of its people through their elected representatives, ruled by the people, who are the source of all political power. So that's what they meant by states' rights. So popular sovereignty is states' rights. Let the people decide whether it's going to be free or slave states. And that's what they wanted in the territories. And we know that Lincoln said that, or the Republicans said that, we're not going to have slavery. If we win, we're not going to have slavery in the Western territories. That's exactly what the problem was, right? But wherever slavery was, it's maintained. So when he was elected, they were not in danger, the South, of losing slavery. That's what I keep on saying. They were never in danger. So when people say, oh, they're asking for states' rights in the South to maintain slavery, well, they already had slavery in the South. So it's referring to the Western territories, but people don't understand that. It's just fascinating. Now, in the 1850s, in the runner-up to the Civil War, Northern Democrats led by Senator Lewis Cass of Michigan and Stephen A. Douglas of Illinois promoted popular sovereignty as a middle position on the slavery issue. It said that actual residents of territories should be able to decide by voting whether or not slavery would be allowed in the territory. The federal government did not have to make the decision, and by appealing to democracy, Cass and Douglas hoped they could finesse the question of support for or opposition to slavery. So it was all about states' rights in the Western territories, but there's a lot of people that don't understand that. They think states' rights in the South to have slaves, it has nothing to do with that. Slavery in the South was not an issue. The issue was the Western territories. The Democrats felt that they should be able to, have a say what goes on in the Western territories. Let the people decide, which is fair, but the Republicans completely block them. And that was a major source of contention. So when people say that the Civil War was about states' rights, well, I can understand what they're saying, but then again, I think there was still a problem about that, because it's like the Southerners did not want to go to war with the North. They knew the North was twice the population. The Northerners were belligerent. They're uncivilized. They had twice the firepower, or maybe even 3 times the firepower, because they were so belligerent, right? And they didn't want to go to war with these people. So that's why they called it a war of northern aggression, because no, they did not want to go to war with these people. But as I said, The whole war was suspicious because the abolitionists knew that slavery was not in danger when Lincoln was elected. The only way to get rid of slavery was through a war, and they conveniently got a war. It's very, very suspect. But I see where people come from when they say it's about states' rights, because the whole problem that they had was, why don't you allow the people to decide whether it's free or slave state? You just completely blocked off the South from, engaging in, expanding into the Western territories. That's just not fair.